Hi, it's Mike from Cup of Rad with
Katie.
That's right, we're cracking into a new episode of Cup of Rad. This week it's episode 77, and what are we talking about?
Today is X-Men
RADnesia! Part 1.
This week on Cup of Rad.
Hey kids, we're coming at you a little bit later than usual, but it's how things go. We've got construction beside us, so it made the last few days difficult to record.
Yeah, we kept trying, and it was like, oh, good, you're drywalling and sanding and drilling. It's good stuff.
Right? So, but we're still coming at you because we got an interesting episode for you this week. We're going to be diving into the world of the X-Men live action films.
Yes.
But first off, what has been going on in the Cup of Rad household, being that we're still under quarantine? And you know what? We're getting through it pretty well, I think.
Yeah, overall.
One thing that we, of course, been doing, and we promoted very much last week, was Community, which is on Netflix. We have been laughing our asses off.
Mike and Katie in the evening.
That's right. And if it's Mike and Katie in the morning for you, depending on where you're listening to this and what time you're listening to this, and if anything to Mike and Katie in the afternoon. So
I was going to say, what about that?
Yeah, so we literally just covered all our bases there. So here we go.
Choose your own adventure.
Choose your own. I don't know. How could you do a choose your own adventure podcast?
So what you do is you just you record it, and then you have just the beginning of it, and it's like morning, afternoon, or evening, and then you just you splice them all, and you just choose which one you're listening to, the morning, afternoon, or evening edition.
I guess you'd have to do multiple downloads or uploads to be able to have
right. It's
suddenly we have 100 episods all in one day.
It's
and
every episode is 3 choices. You're like, is this something new?
Do I go back?
Severe FOMO right there.
Right.
Anyways, Community.
But Community, we've been, we're on season 3.
What's so funny is I was looking back at some episodes and I was like, we already watched season 2? Oh my God, we already watched season 2 completely. It just flew by.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, because we've been blasting through about a week has been season, which is a lot for us.
And then suddenly the idea that it won't last that long is
we'll just have to find something else.
I don't know what my life will be like without Community again.
We'll get to everything that's on the PVR that we've been ignoring.
Our son's like, you guys, you need to watch some TV.
We're like, we are
watching Community. Aw.
You shut your dirty mouth and go to bed.
We're like, so what are you watching? What are we watching tonight? Do you want to watch Community? We should watch this. No, we're gonna watch Community.
Pretty much, because it's funny. It's a funny show.
Hysterical laugh out loud. When was the last time we really laughed out loud?
Constantly. Even to the point where we've had to pause it a couple times.
We like what you do in Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not
drier.
laugh out loud funny all the time, And then we watch so many dramas or something, or things that I get agitated and start yelling at the TV for. And I like that I don't feel like I want to yell at the TV.
It might happen. You never know.
Yeah.
Every show has that moment.
I think it's funny watching all the different characters and being like, oh yeah, I would totally be that person in that moment.
You're like Jeff and Annie.
Jeff, Annie, and Britta.
In the last few episodes I noticed it was more Annie.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, totally Jeff. It's just sad. I love the character, but you're like, oh, that sucks. You're Abed and Troy, so.
That's not bad.
No, it's not.
Kind of.
It's
like
not
a child.
Really. It's not really.
At least you didn't say Pierce.
Yeah, thank God. You'd be out the door on that one.
But no, one of my buddies from school, I've been trying to send him every morning a little
oh, really?
In the morning.
Nice.
So, seeing as he's still in school and I'm out, and, so I think it's fun to do. But with that, we're not actually drinking, we're drinking beer tonight because it's a night now. That's what happens when Cup of Rad goes dark.
Goes dark?
Cup of Rad at night. How's that sound?
Cup of Rad in the evening.
Beer edition. Tonight we were cracked open some Old Yale Moon Dance Mango Wheat. That's our go-to. I think it's our
favorite beer.
Yeah, from them.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
It goes with everything, and it's just yes, beer.
And it's we're in the chintziest bar right now. They let me in with pajamas, and it's a 1 beer maximum. What kind of lame ass excuse is that for a bar?
I know.
Yeah, that's the thing that sucks about quarantine. The bars can be really awesome for the first couple days where you can have a few drinks, but like later in the week, then it gets down to that one
You're
drink
like, what
max.
the hell is
You're
this?
like, you drank them dry. You look at that bartender and say, hey, you suck. And then you don't get beer for a few days.
So maybe we should do better next time. And be like, the bar is fully open tonight.
Cup of Red, fully open bar.
Fully open bar. Oh, not good.
That could be interesting.
Can I dress fancy too?
Maybe that could be something we could try.
Why not? You know, I don't remember last time I got to.
It's not like anyone can see us. We could actually do it naked if we wanted to. Cup of Red and then raw.
Cup of Red nude edition.
Right. How do they know that we're not doing it when we're not doing it?
Oh, we could totally promote that in all the different sorts of fun lewd ways, and maybe we'll get more listeners that way.
Cup of Rad lewd.
Push the bounds of Instagram rules. And see, we've had like a quarter of a beer. Look what's already happened.
It's been too long. We've been too far from the microphone. We're a little more zany than usual.
I know.
Anyways,
Focus.
Back on Community. So we were watching Community. And so then we started watching Ducktales 2017. Go watch it. It's hilarious.
As I know we haven't told you that enough yet.
It's like beating a dead horse. Anyways.
An amazing dead horse.
So the last episode of DuckTales this last weekend was hilarious because it was based off Astro Boy, the Japanese anime. And it was called Astro Boyd. And it was an episode that had Huey going to Japan, basically, with Gyro Gearloose and Gizmo Duck because this little droid thought he was a real boy, but was actually a killer robot.
Yeah.
Now, as we're watching the episode, I suddenly realized something from a voice. Already we knew that
Huey is Abed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which you can never unhear now.
You can no.
Which is fantastic.
And then we realized, I was like, that other voice sounds really familiar. Gyro's voice sounds really familiar. And it's the guy that plays the Dean, Jim Rush.
Yes.
And now I can't unhear that while watching Community, because now I'm just thinking of Gyro Gearloose as the Dean.
And he's so uptight in DuckTales.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just so like,
fluid.
Right? And just so open in Community.
Right? So there's definitely a different way of seeing it, for sure.
Yeah, it's fun when you see those different, like the voice actors for something, and then it's impressive though that they are there because they are good actors, face actors, and then doing such good voices as well.
Yeah, there's a lot more people, more and more getting into the animation, which is interesting, especially for comedians and stuff from sitcoms. Yeah, you know, because Ben Schwartz.
Oh yeah, he's doing more too.
He's Dewey, right?
Yeah,
and he's also with Sonic, and he's Leonardo, right? But yet he's in all these.
He's going to be in a TV show coming up here too.
Yeah, like so it's he's going to be in Space Force. Yeah, with Steve
oh my god, I watched that preview like trailer today. I was just like, I can't believe that this is like this seems like just a comedy thing, and yet it was like actually news of some sort.
It's real.
And I was like, oh my god,
it's a real comedy thing.
Space Force. Holy cow.
It's coming at you. That looks funny. That'll be something. Maybe we get Community done. Space Force.
There we go. May 20th.
There's our goal. Can we do it? I don't think we can. That's 6 seasons in 2 weeks, so 3 weeks.
Oh. We're already watching season 3 though, so we can do it. Close to it.
We'll just have to watch both at the same time.
So have you bought anything new?
Why, yes, I have, Catherine.
Yeah?
I'm glad that you asked that. This is the fancy portion of the show.
He called me Catherine.
It's the fancy portion. Fingers
fancy,
up.
Fancy.
Yeah, so please grab your glasses, your cups, and pinkies out as we discuss the fancy natures.
We're talking fancy things.
Yes, we bought fancy things. As I've continued, we and the child went to Toy Traders this last week and did another trade. Rah-rah, pip-pip, and all that. And the jovial chaps at Toy Traders allowed us to have a very bountiful bounty from what we had traded, and me and the child instantly went down to the Marvel Isle, where the Mezco 112s were held, and we picked up a Logan. That's right, a Logan doll. That's pretty much what it is.
It totally is. I picked it up and I was like, dude, you realize you have a doll, right?
Now, the funny thing is that I have Magneto, I have Cyclops, Wolverine, we've got Batman, Joker and Catwoman, all in the Mezco style. This was the one that Katie said, dude, you're playing with a doll. I was like, no, it's an action figure. It's a collectible action figure, and it's awesome. It's superposable and has lots of accessories, and it's rad, okay? It is not a doll. I pose. I don't play.
With that one.
And that just sounds weird, actually. I totally play. I'm not a poser.
But yeah, it's the looseness and the real clothing, right? Yeah. It wasn't a costume. It was like, wow, someone real could wear this.
Well, the jeans are what give it away a bit more. The tank top fits them really well.
Yeah.
And I hope to get some more pictures. I haven't really done a lot of the picture-wise and all that with it, but it's fantastic. It looked great.
I like the picture you did with the city one, though.
Yeah.
You use the different... I love that Lennon's in it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, by the way, Joe Lennon's just parked back there.
No one mentioned that, which I was surprised.
That was the first thing I saw, of course, so... It's one of my rare figures. So.
Yeah. That was a good place to put it, right?
Yeah, it was excellent.
I was trying to get like a busy street feel and trying to focus on it and see what I could do. But, the Mezco line is just fantastic. We put our name down for the Gambit when that comes out. So we'll have another.
Well, Kiddo decided that was what was happening.
It was happening. It was just like, no, it's going down.
Yeah.
So we'll be getting another one from Toy Traders. Toy Traders is a fantastic store, and it's awesome that they've been able to stay open during quarantine to help us with our, plastic addictions during this time, to help with mental health, especially for children's and all that too.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And it was really safe in there, and there was like barely any people.
Yeah, just that alone, just the very few people is helping.
Yeah,
but when we had gone in there before, I didn't touch anything. The doors are open. I had my money.
We touched everything. We were just like, yes. Ran through the aisles.
La, la, la.
We didn't cough, sneeze, spit, or lick anything. We just touched things. No, we didn't actually. It was actually a pretty easy trip.
Yeah.
The longest was at the till, but
there
was dots, and so we stood on our dots and we just waited, so it was all cool.
And it's a weird world that we're like, when you go to places, you're like,
you're being trained like animals.
I know, right?
We're like cattle for slaughter.
I went to the grocery store and I'm like, okay, so I peek around the corner, like, is anyone coming? Can I come around the corner? Is it okay? Is there a dot for me to stand on? Am I following the arrow? Like, all of these new rules, and it's just such a weird thing to think about.
Yep.
Like, oh, there's a person over there. We're all like kind of a standoff of like, who moves first?
You know what? I must be a dick because I don't get standoff. I just go. I'm just like, whatever, bitches. Figure it out, because I don't got time for your shit.
Oh, wow. Mike's like full-on adult right now.
It's a cup of rad after dark. It's not coffee anymore, baby. It's all beer.
But then again, we've been making sure we try to go in places where it's not super busy. Like, nothing can compare to when it first started panicking buying and all that chaos, right? So,
well, it's funny. The other day at the grocery store, too, someone was like, they like started saying sorry. I'm like, why are you saying sorry? Just get out of my way.
Yeah.
Stop apologizing and move.
We'll just move and just all work together. Hi, Grunkle Stan. That totally sounded like Grunkle Stan right there. Like, what's wrong with you? Just do this. Oh, yeah. But overall, we're doing okay, so.
Yeah. They're figuring that out. So DuckTales is the only thing that's really back cartoon-wise.
Yeah. I miss Owl House.
Or was it? Well, Owl House, demons and shit ain't around anymore.
I know, what the heck?
Right? I don't get my demons and shit fix. Anyways. So what we did
Justin, I wish you could have seen his face when he said that.
You don't know me. So what we got going, we ended up, okay, so Justin, our buddy Justin, friend of the podcast.
So check it.
Yeah.
I've been totally listening to Beastie Boys again. Oh my gosh. I'm like.
Be ready for the all rap episode soon.
I'm like gone super retro and like hard on my music, and I love it. I miss Hello Nasty album. I love it so much, and I listened to it so much when I was younger, and I was like, this thing's amazing. So anyways, back to what you were saying.
So anyways, we've been trudging along begrudgingly through Clone Wars. I've been wanting to watch it. I loved Rebels. Rebels to me was an amazing series, and I just never could get into Clone Wars. And we mentioned before that we'd watched some of it, and then it disappeared from Netflix, and then, but Kiddo doesn't remember it, so we've been trying to watch it right from the beginning. Well, the new Clone Wars series finales happened, And Justin messaged me and was like, dude, I want to talk to you about this.
Why have you not watched it?
Where are you and why aren't you watching this? And I was like, well, we're still on season 1. Like,
it's going to be a long time, especially because they're obsessed with X-Men right now.
Well, I offer other cartoons up, and kiddo just like, Father, the X-Men. What is wrong with you?
You crazy fool.
So we go ahead and he tells me, he's like, you could watch the last 4 episodes and it'll make sense. You know enough about the world, right? So I message Kid. I'm like, he says we can watch the last 4 episodes. So we're going to do this.
Because it was Star Wars Day.
It was Star Wars Day. We didn't have time to watch Rise of Skywalker because Disney Plus dropped a whole bunch of stuff on Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
We knew it was going to crash, so we might as well just try.
It's been doing really good lately. It only has minimal pause now.
I know, but we didn't have the time. So
yeah. So we decided to crack down and watch the final arc of the Clone Wars.
And
Ahsoka's story with Maul. And holy badonkey balls.
I had goosebumps for half of it.
Yeah, if Clone Wars had been like those last 4 episodes that we watched at the beginning, I would have been in that. Like, It would have been just...
Like, we were watching, I'm like, there's like 3 more episodes of this?
Right?
Oh my gosh, this has moved so quickly, and there's so much going on, and like...
And the music in those episodes were so good. There's actually like a score,
right?
Yes, like even Rebels at the end had that, and they take those old themes and they mix it with like new
Maul,
beats.
You could hear the Maul music, but then it was like
daunting and
faster paced and everything, and then near the end there with all like the really dramatic. It just adds to the drama, which without making it boring and lifeless, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was super impressed.
So the whole idea is it runs pretty much with Revenge of the Sith. Like the first episode happens just before it, and then of this.
Well, something happens, you're like, wait a second, they're doing this.
Yeah, and all is connecting, right?
And that was super awesome.
Yeah, and it was just. I was impressed, and that was like, wow, this is fantastic. And beautiful, and seeing Ahsoka
running
on the starships as she's like jumping when the Mandalore there with the battle that they had, jumping between things, racing to the surface, right?
Yeah,
and then
I think it was really cool after watching Rebels and seeing Rex and all of them from that, and then seeing even more of him fleshed out in this was just really heart-wrenching with everything. And I like, you feel really for their connection and their relationship they would have had with the clones, the Jedis in general, with the clones, and it just made Order 66 that much worse. Like, it always made painful, me so sad, but this was more painful than it was in the movie at all, right? You saw their relationship, and it was just like, oh, it's heart-wrenching, right?
And just like Rebels, the finale had a mini time jump. Yeah. And you kind of got an idea, some things going on, and you're just like, damn, where's more of this? Like, where is it? Like, if that quality could be put into more, I'd be on it. Yeah. So definitely want to continue watching Clone Wars because I want to see where it gets to, how it got to that point. Yeah, of course. But we're trudging through it.
Waiting for you to just jump a season and be like, I don't feel like I missed anything.
So we'll see. I really like the Ahsoka character. And Hot Toys just announced that they got the license to do Clone Wars. Oh, that would be cool. I'm curious to see if it's going to be the realistic style or if they're going to be going with the animated style. Mm-hmm. But if they bring out Ahsoka, I might need that. Mm-hmm. I might need that. I would love to see Mezco do it, but I doubt it.
I know it would be really impossible to do, but that'd be really fun as a cosplay.
Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do. You just need the quality paint.
Oh, yeah. It'd be. I mean, the biggest thing is the headdress and everything, right? I mean,
I think we could do
all that out, but... Add it to my never-ending list of Katie wants to cosplay this.
It's the most covered of all the cosplays you've mentioned recently. So.
Yeah, that's a bonus. Can't be on my list then. Way too much covering. What the heck?
But yeah, definitely those episodes because it's Revenge of the 5th and Taco
I rocked
Tuesday.
My Jedi stuff on, May the 4th, and then I had all my Sith stuff on Revenge of the Sith.
Nice.
You know, it just had to happen.
Well, rewatching that made me want to reread that novel, her novel as well. Yeah. Right? So Even if I don't watch with Kiddo, maybe I'll break down and do some more of those. Yeah. Speaking of Disney Plus too, we're watching Prop Culture.
That show is really fun. The most recent one we watched was The Nightmare Before Christmas,
and that one
was the best one.
We've done 2 episodes already that have nightmare ties.
Yeah.
So look those up.
That was really cool because every single person you talked to, you learned about the film, you learned about what it meant to them.
Yep.
And there was just so much heart and soul poured into this. And not to mention just the amazing craftsmanship that went.
And the fact that Oingo Boingo played in the background. I mean, come on.
Right? I mean, how could you go wrong?
I don't know why they didn't play Nightmare Before Christmas music, but they played Oingo Boingo.
Oingo Boingo. So. It was like, well, we needed to have these pictures of him playing in Oingo Boingo, so like it came with the right to talk to Danny Elfman.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't know why, because why would he care about promoting it? But,
yeah, especially when you find out more about Jax Lemmon is more about Danny Elfman's actual breaking from his rock star life.
Yeah,
which I think was quite interesting and revelation.
And if you don't know Oingo Boingo, go listen to them.
Yeah, find Oingo Boingo. Find the Farewell album at Universal from 93, I think it was, or 95. Something
like that, yeah. One of the best albums ever. Like, it's just amazing.
Yeah, the Farewell album is, to me, if they had sounded like that through the 80s, they would have been bigger.
Yeah.
It was a lot more grunge ska.
Yeah. It's super edgy and it's just so full of life.
Yeah.
And it's super fun.
It's on Spotify, so I know that. So
yeah. I listen to it just at work once in a while, and it's really hilarious because it's like there's super rock and then there's just weird shit happening.
Reptiles and samurai. I mean,
how could you go wrong?
Okay, so what are we really talking about today, kid?
The main event!
Ding, ding, ding!
The main event is
RADnesia!
X-Men live action.
Part 1. And Part 1, guess what? You're going to get X-Men for a while. X-Men
so
for
much
days.
X-Men.
Girl, break it up into probably 2 at a time.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more digestible.
Well, then it's easier for us to handle because we're introducing Kiddo to it.
Yeah.
And, just little tiny bits and pieces because then you realize how much there really are in it.
Yep.
So.
Because we're going to do all the Fox X-Men movies that are available. And, what do you start with? Well, you start with the original, of course.
Yeah.
X-Men from 2000. That's right. I couldn't
believe how old this one was, actually.
Right?
I feel old and I'm having problems with that.
So check this. So because with watching the animated series, Kiddo is like just totally into the whole world of X-Men. He just loves it. And he started actually like asking about some of the graphic novels I have and all that and comics and all that. So he's totally into this thing. So he saw on Disney Plus that there's X-Men live action movies. So he started asking about that. So I started showing him the trailers, and I showed him the trailers of everything that was available on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. That goes up to Apocalypse, right? So we're showing him all those. And the trailer for X-Men, damn, is it bad? Like,
you told me there was like giant X's on the screen?
Giant swirling X's, and it's got like this music playing, and then like the announcer, it's all like, some are here to protect us. Swirling X, Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm.
Oh, goodness.
Right? And then it's like, but fear the rest. Sabretooth, Toad.
That sounds horrible.
Okay, the names don't actually come out. Like, there's no announcer that says that.
Oh. See, you hyped it up.
But it's big, and you know that if they had a movie film guy from the 90s,
that's what
the 90s guy would have just been like, X-Men. Fear the rest. Like, Batman would have come out.
I was going to say, all I hear is Batman.
Fear me. No, but like, so I was watching that, and he's like, wow, I don't know if I like that, Dad.
What is this?
And I was like, okay, fair enough. So we move on to the next one, and he's like, okay, yeah, I can see, and then move on. And as they get newer, he's used to that style of trailer because they get away from that like just explosion, like the.
It's amazing to see how trailers have changed so much.
Right? So like Days of Futures Past, when he saw that trailer, he was just like, I'm in. We're watching these. So anyways, we watched X-Men this last weekend. So, for myself, when X-Men came out originally, it was like, I was like, the X-Men are going to be on the big screen.
Yeah.
like,
It's like
holy
life-changing
crap.
for you.
Finally, like I enjoy Spider-Man the comics. I enjoyed the Spider-Man movies to a point, right? But I was like, it's the X-Men, dude. Like, I remember my buddy, because we were just coming out of high school at that point, and I was like, it's the X-Men. And he was just like, yeah, okay. He was a big Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
He was Star Trek, Star Wars, which was a really weird dichotomy, right? Whereas like he likes both.
He was both of them.
Yeah,
right?
he still is. He's still both.
Yeah.
Right. But
my sister's like that too, so I guess.
I'm like, dude, this is like my Star Trek. Like,
yeah.
Like this is
support me.
Yeah. Why don't you love me? But so we went and saw it, and I remember it just being like everything. I remember seeing that and just being like, I am all in on this thing. This is the shit,
right?
Like, I remember right, and I remember like going out and buying toys after and being like, yes, X-Men, and like. I'm sure I probably wasted an entire paycheck on those Toy Biz toys.
Most likely.
And those black suits and those rubber toys.
Yeah.
And I was looking them up and I was like, damn, those are horrible looking toys.
What was I thinking?
Right? Because I had like Mystique came with like rubberized Wolverine to pull over top of the action figure to make it look like she changed. But yet he was still in like the Mystique twisted posed.
Oh, wow. So you came with the Wolverine skin. Basically.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah. So, but I just remember it was like the shit. It was just, yes, this is fantastic. It's, something different. It was not the exact same from the comics. They took their liberties with it, of course. Mm-hmm. But I was pretty forgiving about it back then. Yeah. So, because the X-Men cartoon was where I cut my teeth on the X-Men. And because I was 10 when that came out, and that was my gateway into finding the comics from there, and finding the characters. And my characters from X-Men were always Wolverine, of course, because he was Canadian, of course, too. And I was like, whoa, what the hey, eh? Right? It's a beer swilling, cigar chomping claw man from the north, eh? So,
it's your Canadian moment there,
right?
Wow,
it just totally pops out, what I'm saying? It's gonna be, but, and then I always loved Beast because I liked the idea that he was like, this soft, smart guy, but he looked like a monster that would rip your head off. And then I like Gambit, and then Nightcrawler. Those are like my jam. Yeah, and. So getting the comics all those years and reading all those. So it was nice to see that when it hit in that time, which was fantastic. So and I have a lot of good memories even with that series.
Well, even your mom, I know she liked Rogue and everything like that. So it was something
that was like one of the few things that we like connected on as like a family, where it was like, where she liked those.
So that was one thing I remember about her. It's like she was a fan of Rogue, and I was like, you knew that, right? So that was really cool. But for me, I don't really remember when the movie first came out. I remember it being there, but I was still really young, and it wasn't. I was just like, okay, I know who the X-Men are. I had these awesome little diecast X-Men toys from like probably McDonald's. Let's be honest.
No, it wouldn't have been from McDonald's diecast.
I don't know what it was.
They did some cool shit in the 90s, but not diecast.
McDonald's toys ruled when I was younger. I assume everything that I had that was little came from McDonald's, but no, I did have a brother, so it probably from
they had like friends, a Micro Machines set.
But we had all these little figurines, and we had like a Cyclops and Storm. Those are my two favorite ones. Yeah. I did have a Wolverine as well, and I always liked Storm. She was always my favorite. And I liked her costume and everything, and the idea of the weather was fun. Yeah. And I remember I really enjoyed the movie. I don't have, as I say, a connection to it mainly. Just other than just remembering as the trilogy expanded, right? But it was fun to see a different type of superhero and a group of them out in there like that.
Because that was like the first group that had made it onto like the big screen.
Well, and then because you do still have so much of them being, their mutant powers were there. I love that Cyclops still had his giant laser beam and all those sorts of stuff. Like Optic it wasn't. I'm sorry.
Friggin' laser beams.
Laser beams. But I remember having it. It was fun. So.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen the X-Men movie, of course, it's the idea that mutants, when they're stressed, they their X gene shows up basically, and they develop a mutant power of some sort.
Yeah.
It's a survival thing almost, right? So the movie then takes place back in World War II, shows Magneto getting his powers back in the concentration camps, jumps forward. You get to see Rogue and her absorption powers with her boyfriend. She runs away and meets the Wolverine, up in the middle of nowhere, Canada,
Of course.
Alberta. And eventually they find their way through a series of action scenes back to New York. And they form the X-Men, and they had to fight Magneto in his grand scheme to try to turn everyone into mutants.
Yes.
That's the gist.
Key things that I remember that scared the bejesus out of me when I watched this movie, still freaks me out, was Senator Kelly melting. His creepy turn to water, like the science love of me side is like, this is the coolest thing, that his cells are like breaking down and they're all showing how much water we are. And then at the idea of, oh my God, his cells are breaking down, he's turning to goo.
Yeah.
Is totally creepy. Nightmarish. And Kiddo's face when that happened, it was like we were showing him some horror movie. It was hilarious.
I think that's the most reaction I think I've ever seen from a movie.
He looked disgusted and scared and impressed all at the same time.
Yeah. No, it was.
What is happening? Oh my God. Do you guys see this? What is happening? So that was pretty funny.
But yeah. It was fun to show him that because he was so excited for it. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen him excited for a franchise.
Well, and he was really, even throughout it, he was really engaged with it, right? And he wasn't just sitting there just like blindly, zombie-like staring at the TV or anything. Which is
and the interesting thing for him with his introduction being that the animation, right, which is, sanitized kids versions of a lot of the stories from the comics, he's watching this and going, wait, that's not right. Hold on. What
is happening here?
So I thought that was kind of interesting. He was picking that apart and all that. And, but the things that he really kind of noticed that he picked up, he thought it was really good. He really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
He said it was a pretty good movie. He loved being able to actually see Wolverine heal because they don't show that in the comic and the cartoon.
Yeah.
Right. So he's like, that's really cool watching it all like come back together. Right.
Yeah.
Now his biggest complaint was Mystique because he can't fathom why she doesn't have a costume.
Yeah.
He's just like, well, she has a costume and everything else. Like, he's like,
which, half the population was also wondering why she didn't have a costume.
Not many were. Let's be honest. It was how they got a naked woman on screen. Right? Like,
I only said half.
A quarter.
Okay.
But yeah, that was his biggest thing was like,
I would like you to know, record show that he's slightly blushing right now.
Far from it.
It's the beer. Never mind. Not the naked woman.
But yeah, that was kind of, well, really what bothered me more with Mystique is this rewatch was the fight scene with Wolverine at the end when she spins, like actually jumps in the air and like does like 360s or how many times, like that weird spinning move that she does, and like then like climbed up the pole backwards back. Yeah, just with her arms. Her legs weren't on it. It was just her arms.
She's super athletic.
Like that was
it's like super Spider-Man moves.
I don't think anybody could do that.
Super wired moves.
Like that was the thing that bugged me more was like, out of everything in the movie, that was it. I was just like, damn, that dated it. That dated the film just for those scenes because you could tell it was like Matrix is popular. It came out last year. Can we do something similar to the Matrix? Yes.
So overall, though, I know you had saw something that said that this movie really did not age well at all. Yeah. And so we were expecting like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was worried, right? Like, because I read an article and like out of all the movies that came out in the last like 20 years, they were like saying that X-Men it was one that dated like least best or something like that.
And I was really surprised because I was because quite honestly, let's be honest, the whole franchise has now been tainted with horribleness from other things. And I remember not hating these, though,
Yeah.
but I was worried that maybe they weren't as good as I thought, you know?
They'd pull off those nostalgia glasses and go, damn!
Right? And I was honestly impressed with how little irritation I really felt. There was, of course, there's going to be things that are like, oh, I wish they could have done this better, but it's because we've had how many years of superhero movies that alone will help change things.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, you wish a character was portrayed better and everything, but overall I was impressed with
you know, Wolverine's introduction is just beautiful. It's fantastic. It's a great way to do it with him in the bar and the bar fight and all that, like, and just it's great. And Hugh Jackman does a great job. You know, you can't take anything away from him for that.
For really the character that was written, he did a wonderful portrayal of it.
And sure, we didn't really get costumes. Like if I was to complain, of course, it would be the fact that we didn't really get costumes. Yeah, we got the weird leather suits, which, you know, it's kind of suck, honestly. But it was the 90s. It feels like it should have been the 90s. But it was 2000.
It was made in the 90s.
It was made in the 90s. Yeah. So I get it, you know, that they didn't go ahead with those. Because still superheroes were so new, you know, you didn't really have a whole lot of reference for colorful costumes and all that. So my only thing too was I didn't like Storm's line.
Oh yeah,
at the end against Toad. It really bothers me.
Well, you like set it up. You're like, and here comes the worst line ever.
It was. It's the worst line in the movie.
Well, because so go ahead.
You know, it's like, you know what happens when a toad gets hit by lightning? Same thing as everything else.
Yeah. It's like, you know what you could have done is let the lightning give the punchline. Yeah. Like, just ask him the question, zap the man with lightning, and be like, oh, that's what happens. Yeah. It's self-explanatory.
If he had exploded, then I would have been like, yeah. Because that would have been amazing.
Oh, yeah, there was some corny lines.
Zapped and away.
In general, Storm is very... not the best actress for it, quite honestly. She didn't do or it wasn't written really well, you know? It was very corny and static in the way she acted a lot for it, right? Yeah. So I don't know if it was her or the movie itself, right? So, or a little bit of a combination for things, but it was not a strong character in it for sure. Like,
well, because it was the show that they hadn't really been able to adjust enough to be able to understand the dynamic of having so many characters on screen, right? But, you know, all in all, I still really had a good rewatch of X-Men. Like, it's still a pretty damn good movie. Yeah. And I was pleasantly surprised at the end of it. So,
okay, so my other rage moment. I haven't raged about this problem for a while, but the pushing of the romance on something. I am 100% okay if Jean and Logan were flirting. It would be fine. Because I would have expected that from him. Like, he's supposed to be that way. The cavalier, like, I'm awesome. Like, I get what I want look. Yeah. But he walks in and acts like they're suddenly soulmates and Jean's supposed to leave Scott. And why are you not running away with me now? Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you're kind of a dick. Yeah. And this feels creepy and weird. Yeah. Like, what is wrong with you? And I hate how much it paints Scott almost to be like this bad guy that's keeping Jean from Logan. You know, and because I have fond memories of Cyclops, and I know you had said, I don't know the comics well enough, and you said he's kind of a, you know, can be kind of a jerk in the comics and everything, but he's kind of more the straight-laced leader idea, and that's what you're going to expect a little bit. I would expect them to kind of clash a bit. But the movie portrays him so stuck up and badly and so unaccepting of anything else. But at the same time, Logan doesn't give off the best introduction when he walks in and be like, oh, by the way, I'm totally taking your girlfriend from you. Yeah. You know, and so I never really liked that. And that still bothered me now. Yeah. That was the thing that still stuck with me. I'm like, okay, yep, I still don't like that. Yeah. And I think
first movie should have had a lot more flirtation in it. Yeah. And then once we get into the second.
And I'd be okay with them flirting, whatever. You know, that can be fun and everything. But I just... It was just a weird vibe, and it still was a weird vibe. So I was like, okay, well, I still remember that, but
you don't like romance in movies in general, though,
unless it's a full romance movie.
Yeah. So
I know, right? It's so funny. I haven't had that problem lately for a while, and I was like, oh yeah, the romance problem's back.
But you think too, it is that masculinity that was portrayed in 2000s and 90s, where it was just like, if you're a real man, you can just take whatever you want for the ones that aren't really a real man.
Yeah. And I think I didn't like how it made Scott look, right? Yeah. It didn't make him look like he...
Now, you also got to throw on the lens, though, of that Bryan Singer was hiding a lot of his illicit activities.
I know, right?
All his
so now
filmmaking.
You see all that and you're like, wow, now I have a whole new view on what possibly is portrayed in this movie because of what he was doing, which what you also said was Mystique, right?
Mystique, yeah. He was like,
like, I like naked women.
Yeah. You watch some of those old interviews of him when he was saying like the idea of like, well, it was our way to get a naked woman in the movie, and he's got this weird look on his face. You're like, okay, well, now we know exactly what you
were trying to do.
So, but anyways,
but yeah, so that was overall. I'm very happy with it. Still, that I still was like, oh wow, okay, I'm glad we watched this. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh god, we watched this. So that was a bonus.
So your RADnesia watch, would you recommend X-Men to people?
I still think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
All right, so. As we move from X-Men, we move into X2, X-Men United.
X-Men
X2, X-Men 2, X-Men United, X-Men United We Stand. This movie had a bazillion titles.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's just X2. It had more.
When was it from?
I didn't write that down.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sometime after X-Men.
Yeah, it was
sometime in the 2000s.
Probably a few years after. I mean, so anyway, so X-Men 2.
I remember the merch from this.
Is the continuing story of the X-Men.
Yes. So this one, I thought was, one thing I do kind of a blends between the two of them. One thing I love, and I love no matter what portrayal
2003.
it is. Okay, there we go. What portrayal it is. I love the relationship between Xavier and Magneto because it is such a... Xavier is trying so hard to still... There's a weird connection between them and a camaraderie, but at the same time, they're so opposite and so separate. And I like the balance and the pull between them. With him showing up at the prison and... also knowing that he should be there, Magneto should be there, but Xavier's there as a friend still, and all this sort of stuff. And it's just, I like the relationship. It's a complex one, and I think it's interesting. So that was one thing that just reminded me about it. I still really like that. So X2
is a story of Magneto's in jail, and all of a sudden the president is attacked by a mysterious figure. They can teleport, and that's bamf. That's still one of the cooler scenes in that entire movie.
Yeah,
seeing Nightcrawler make his way and just take out every Secret Service agent and everything, all the way through, just jumping and flipping and kicking and diving and everything like that. That is and still is a fantastic scene.
Yeah. Well, because you can imagine the chaos that would have been ensuing there.
Yeah.
For them, not knowing who's there, how many people, moving around for all this sort of stuff. Like, it was really impressive to see and that it was a good way to show the scariness that a mutant could possibly be.
Yeah.
And some of the fear that it can give you, right?
Yeah. And I just thought it just looked cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looked cool through it. So then the entire states are on alert because someone tried to kill the president and it was a mutant. So then you got William Stryker, who was
he was a slime ball.
There you go. Military leader of a secret covert underground.
Military scientists are never good news.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So interesting, in fact, in the comic book, Stryker is actually like a religious leader.
Really?
So they changed that over to.
I did not know that.
So you have him. You're trying to find more about Wolverine's past. You're finding out that he was part of this Weapon X program. Yada yada yada. And he flirts more with Jean awkwardly and really boiled Katie's blood. So in the end of it, basically the mutants.
Have you chosen yet? Are you going to leave him yet for me? I barely walked into your life.
So basically the
So they're going to split up and try to figure out, because Professor X is trying to look for this mutant.
Yeah.
And he can't find him because he's moving so much, right? So
then you find out it's Nightcrawler, and then it ends up being a big final showdown.
How was Nightcrawler for you in this movie, since he's one of your characters that you really like?
They barely explore him, so it's okay.
Yeah.
As kind of that. And in my rewatch, it's just kind of like, it's okay. I find it funny how sometimes when they do characters, they have to like, they always like will bring out, well, it cost us so long and it took us so long to do this and blah, 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 and the makeups and all that. And then you're like, yeah, but if you didn't make it so intricate and you just did it basic, it wouldn't have taken as long. And, if you just put him in his regular costume, you wouldn't have had to have all those extra prosthetics and...
Right. You made it harder on yourself.
Right. Like, so... Because, Alan Cummings, he got the role because he could speak German over Neil Patrick Harris. And then it took 10 hours to do his makeup. And so then he was like, nope, not doing it anymore. Take off. So you didn't get more Nightcrawler actor till later in the series from a different actor.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay. Like it follows it. They really amp up the religious side of Nightcrawler. Yeah. But it's one of those characters that possibly if they had been able to play more, it would have been nice to have seen the swashbuckling side. He was a huge Errol Flynn fan, and
that would have been cool.
He fights with a sword at some point in his comic career, right?
Oh, that's cool.
One of the things he does in his danger room is he got a whole like pirate simulation in the danger room.
So you could have a bamfing pirate?
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Right? So like...
One thing I thought was funny was the lack of continuity with his powers throughout the movie.
Yes. I never noticed that before until now. So, like, the entire scene in the White House, he's able to just jump through walls.
He's never been in the White House, let's be honest.
Like, doing all this stuff, right? And then later in the movie, he says he can't bamf unless he can see where he's going, which doesn't line up to what he had said before.
Yeah.
So,
or like, okay, we're going to assume you can bamf on the other side of this wall, and he's like all freaked out about it. And you were like bamfing all over the place in some
irregular patterns and everything, right?
Like, so that it was just seemed very like, we're going to create the rules depending on how the movie wants to be.
Now, you got to remember, Bryan Singer did this one too, and Bryan Singer did do Superman Returns, and Kryptonite only affected Superman how it needed to affect him during that movie.
Okay, sometimes so he's really good at just bending rules whenever he wants.
Yeah. Yeah, so remember that. Okay. Superman Returns, it only affected Superman when it needed to at the time. Otherwise, he was then able to get past it.
Weird.
So Bamping fell into the same mold. So with Kiddo, he thought it was really good. He thought it was a bit different. He really liked being able to see Magneto's power more in this one versus the first one, because he was really confused yet concerned yet bewildered and excited about the fact that he was able to rip all of the metal out of the security guard.
So what I've realized, I think I have a crush on Magneto.
Like Ian McKellen?
No. Well, I of course I have a crush on Michael Fassbender, but I love the idea of what he can do. The power of it is like gravitational.
Huh. He just makes friends with the metal like the Aquaman, right?
I don't know, somehow that's even funnier.
He doesn't control it. He just asks it. Metal. He just asks it to be his friend.
I like that it's an object that can think, yeah. But the fact that he could rip extra iron out of someone's blood and then form it into these little like useful spheres, it's like, that's super impressive.
Huh.
It's more of a I'm impressed and like in awe crush, not like sexy crush.
Sure.
It's sexy power crush.
Yeah.
It's just the power.
You're just gonna get one of those like metal chastity belts and be like, hey Magneto,
I like it.
Can you take this off?
Anyway.
So Kiddo also really liked the scene with Wolverine in the mansion when the government comes to take the kids. Mm-hmm. He thought that was the coolest fight scene ever with Wolverine. Really got to see Wolverine in act berserker rage almost protecting, which I thought was really cool.
He stabs himself to get out.
That's the first movie.
See, look at that. It happens.
See, this is why I wanted to only do a couple at a time.
Berserker move, we're just going to go back to that.
He stabbed the guy into the fridge.
That's what I was thinking about.
Oh, okay.
And the lack of blood that is there is hilarious.
Well, because that's the thing. They were told that if they didn't have the blood, they'd be able to stick with the PG.
And now I remember the stabbing yourself. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
So we really thought that was cool because you actually get to see Wolverine do a thing.
Yeah.
Do more in it, and he was more like crazy.
I like the giant block of ice wall.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool to show how much power he can really have by creating, we have water in the air, and how you can actually control that. You always have moisture around you, right? And I thought that was really cool. So.
Yeah, that was a really cool scene. And that was actually an ice block. That wasn't CG. That was an actual ice block. It was like
that's awesome.
5,000 pound ice block that they
blew it up too.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, I really liked the movie. The funny thing was I kept seeing like. I always thought X2 was better than the first X-Men, but on this rewatch myself, I actually enjoyed X-Men a little bit more. There's some key scenes in X2 that I think are superior.
Yeah.
The Nightcrawler scene and Wolverine in the mansion when he's trying to protect the kids and taking down all the things. But at the end of it, I felt like the movie was a little disjointed and a little rushed at the end. And almost like they should have really planned it out as like the Empire. It feels like they wanted to do the Empire Strikes Back feel with Jean dying at the end, but it doesn't feel like it really worked as well. Like she should have still been living at the end of it, and to develop that Phoenix power a bit more.
Yeah, because she had just started showing powers, and so it doesn't really give you an appreciation for things or an appreciation for her character or her power that she has in a positive sense. And it's like, oh, by the way, she's
like the most
really
powerful
awesome,
mutant
really
on the
super
planet.
impressive, and now we're gonna kill her off. And it was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then when she shows back up in the third one, you don't have the same feel of wanting to help her, right?
Yeah.
And so if they had developed her more,
so it's like it feels like after this rewatch, it really felt like the studio was just like, we got to rush this. We got to get to
the Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, So, and oddly enough, because this is not really much of a complaint. It's my brain rambling through all the things that we thought about while watching it. But because I've talked to Theo from Insane Dragon Ball so much, and his Australian accent, that there's a moment in X2 where Hugh Jackman's Wolverine says something and his accent breaks.
Yeah, it's so apparent too, actually.
And I never noticed it until I've actually had more regular communication with an Australian, right? And, the spillway's flooding and he comes in and he stabs it and it's all like, you don't want to go that way. Trust me. And it was just like, whoa.
Wolverine turned Australian for a moment.
Right? Like, I never noticed it until now.
So you gotta wonder why they were okay with keeping that take. Like,
it was probably the best that they had, or they were running on burning daylight.
Yeah, just like, whatever, this sounds good.
So there'll be enough background noise. You probably won't even hear what he says.
So one thing I did like about X2 was I liked, other than the fact that Stryker was a really good bad guy because he was super creep and horrible, like awful human being because of what he did with his son.
Yeah.
And he just used them. Mutants were only okay as long as they were tools for him, right? But his son's power, holy moly, how overwhelmingly powerful it is to take over Professor X as well with that. And I, no wonder Stryker's a little broken though, because if he had that he was dealing with, and then with his wife that his story is going through, like I can understand his anger towards them and everything, but it was an interesting concept to see all that. He just seemed really horrible, right? So,
yeah.
But I really liked his son was scary, but
it's like the epitome of schizophrenia.
Yes.
Right.
Where it's like, I have made, I have all these hallucinations and now I can take you into them. Yeah. Exactly.
So on something that Kiddo had noticed while he watched it that he wasn't a super big fan of was Lady Deathstrike, because he felt that she wasn't really used. It was just kind of like this weird one-off thing.
Yeah.
He thought
it's like a shoe-in of like, we have to put a mutant here.
Yeah, right. And that was one thing that he's like, well, she should have had a bigger part. Like she just was like done, one and done feel, right? He didn't really like that. But he thought it was kind of cool to see her in live action with the long fingers and all that, the fact that they grew out of her and all that.
Yeah.
But she had the same spinny fight scene as Mystique did.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things where it's like, I like the first fight because it seemed more realistic with Wolverine versus just like in X1 and X2, his final fight with someone was like the same kind of like twirly whirly, spin fight.
Yeah.
Right. Which was,
I did like that he filled her full of adamantium.
No, he filled her.
I was waiting. Oh, I caught him too late, man. I caught him too late.
Filled her up to the brim.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny because when they walked in, I'm like, why is this lab from how many years ago still bubbling with this adamantium type thing? Like, what the heck is this? And then it promptly described it for me. Okay, so they had to have thought, like, this is why it is still there. Yep. And it was funny because we were watching and Kid was like, he's going to either throw her in that or going to put, adamantium in her. Like, he totally saw that
right
foreshadowing. He's like, yeah, that's how it's going to end. Like, that's what's going to happen. I was like, good job. He put those two together. So the end scene, when they all show up in like some freaky horror movie and the Oval Office there.
It's impressive. Okay, so you're going to describe this whole thing. This didn't really bother me at all. It never really has. But this really bothered Katie and Kiddo.
It has always bothered me. And it makes sense that it's all dark because the storm clouds and the secret
that storm
type thing.
Created.
Yeah, I know. But it's like they like all sneak into the shadows and show up at like some like creepy like mannequin displays type thing where all of a sudden the lightning strikes and they're all there. It's like you're gonna scare him. Like, you're not helping your cause by doing this, like, we're in the shadows watching you, just showing up, freezing time and making the storm and showing up and then disappearing. It happened so quickly for him to unfreeze this time. Like, how for him to show up like that, there was no bamfing, so Nightcrawler didn't bring them in. So he would have had to freeze time for everyone in the area to get past all the way into the Oval Office, for all of them there. If just Professor X had shown up, then I could have said, okay, Nightcrawler like bamfed him in there and then bamfed him out type thing. But I don't know why, but it just really bothers me.
Because it's a scene that doesn't really make sense. And
it doesn't fit with the rest of the movie.
No, and that's the thing, is like it feels disjointed, and that's where I said before that the end of X2 feels disjointed.
It's like, wrap it up, people. Let's go.
Like, it feels like they shouldn't have had that scene as well. Like, there's a...
And more with the romance, too. Like, I feel so bad. Like, Scott doesn't even get his, like, due of feeling bad because you don't really get to see that they had a positive relationship. So you're like, oh, wow, that sucks. So your girlfriend's dead. And then, meanwhile, it's like you're supposed to feel bad for Logan because his sudden soulmate died. And I was just like, what the hell is this?
It's the rush aspect, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I say, like, I actually feel that X-Men aged better than X2.
Yeah.
X2 has some amazing scenes and some amazing moments and does really well in the first act. And then it kind of starts tumbling with all the extras that they...
There's a lot of scene changes, a lot of grouping, a lot of different...
Well, because then we talked about, too, is that so this base is up in northern Alberta, and they're... Where were they again? Like Michigan or something? And they're flying, and like the American jets follow them all the way to northern Alberta.
Because when they crash, then Magneto's right there with Mystique, and it's like, oh, by the way, we're right here. And it's like, wait a second, why was the American military in Alberta?
Right, and not far north. Like,
it would have been one thing if it was more of a border, and the Canada's like, oh yeah, sure, go for it.
Yeah,
like,
but not almost near like the Northwest Territories.
Yeah,
right? So they someone didn't do their fact check of geography.
Let's pay attention to all of that, people. So I don't know, it's interesting.
But as a whole, I still think X-Men and X2, especially on our rewatch here, are probably the strongest from the actual X-Men movies. In the entire of the series. So that's one thing that's going to be really curious to go through the rewatch of everything to see where things fall. We're going into dark territory
now, man. Dark territory.
Where we all get and like all that, because we're next week with our part 2, we're going to be dipping our toes into X-Men The Last Stand, and to make things even more awesome, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Don't make me watch it again.
So
Mama,
we're
no.
gonna be we're going to be checking out those two for you next week on our X-Men RADnesia.
It's going to be interesting.
Because guess what? May is
I guarantee
X-May.
the bar will be open for that episode.
I hope so, because I ran out of beer a movie ago.
And it is unacceptable.
And the bartender won't get off her ass and go get more beer.
Woo! Please stand by. We're going to have a can of whoop-ass opened.
Ooh, 2000 called.
Woohoo!
Wants their reference back.
I don't know when the last time I said that. Oh my god.
But yeah, so we're gonna dive into those two there. So it'll be an interesting to see what Kiddo thinks, because he was really still impressed with X-Men and X2.
Mm-hmm.
He had said, it was hilarious.
So my Mother's Day movies are going to be this.
Well, we're gonna watch them before Mother's Day. Then Sunday you can watch whatever you want, because that's Mother's Day.
Oh, okay.
So Friday and Saturday will be. So, anyways, he really liked. Well, it was funny. Star Wars going. He was saying, "What was your favorite character from these movies?"
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and said, "There's not really any other characters in these movies, Dad. It's pretty much you gotta like Wolverine."
He totally saw it, which was hilarious.
He's like, because nobody else really gets a lot of time to
or
be,
love.
He's like, I like Cyclops in the cartoon. He's like, I don't like him in the movies. so it's an interesting thing.
It is Wolverine in the X-Men.
Yeah, so that's what I want to see as we go forward, because Hugh Jackman was the shining star of this series. He's what carried it. He's what made it as popular it is what exploded everything.
Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship with Wolverine Origins, or X-Men Origins Wolverine. Because there's parts of it are good and parts of it are bad.
Horrible,
and so that'll be an interesting episode.
Yes.
Plus our normal hijinks and shenanigans, because apparently we're going to be doing another cup of Rada after dark, because apparently coffee's off the table. It's only beer for X-May.
Apparently we're not over-caffeinated. We are diving into the bar.
But hopefully you enjoyed our little talk about X-Men.
X-Men jaunt.
Yeah, and in this one here, what out of the two, what are your favorites? Let us know in the comments, of course.
Are you as irritated with romance as I am?
We're going to have to do just an entire romance episode just so we can find where her bar of acceptable romance is.
I have a shelf of romance new movies up there.
Yeah,
Those
but
are okay.
that's what I want to know. Like, where's the bar? What is acceptable romance in a movie?
I know. You know what's so funny is that sometimes, like, I can be I love the Disney princess idea, or like, Dirty Dancing, where, she's been with him for a week, but I guess they're not gonna they're not like soulmates or anything like that. They had like a week fling, let's be honest. But, why am I okay with that and not others? But I don't know.
If we have any psychologists that listen to us, willing to dissect Katie's thought process,
romantic neurosis,
hit us up.
But this has been fun.
Yeah. So that's been X-Men. Oh, something I forgot to mention when we were talking about Star Wars is something that's really exciting is Taika Waititi has actually officially been able to announce that he is doing a Star Wars movie.
Yes, that's very exciting.
Even after he was saying that, no, I'm not doing one. Guess what? He's doing one.
That was what his tweet said that said psych.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so he's going to be diving into the universe. He already dipped his toes with Mandalorian, with being IG-11 and directing the finale of that season. And they've also added some more directors to season 2, Ant-Man director, and also Robert Rodriguez.
There's going to be a behind the scenes of The Mandalorian.
It's already out.
It is out now? Yeah. Oh, that's going to be super fun.
So, but the one thing that I think is really cool with Waititi's movie that's coming out is it's going to be co-written by the screenwriter of 1917. Haven't seen it yet. Excited to see it.
But it got so much praise.
But then that makes me wonder, are we going to see a war movie? Right, because that movie that she wrote was so entrenched with war and brothers in arms. So, what are we gonna see? Could we see a Clone Wars movie?
Yeah, interesting.
Dealing with the clones? Could we where are we going with this?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is going forward. I'm noticing more and more that what Disney's done with the expanded universe is much more enjoyable than what they've done with their regular universe episodes. So I'm excited to see where they're going to go. And that was my little side tangent that was forgotten from before. So, so stick with us. Part 2 is next week. Last Stand, Wolverine Origins, coming at you. Stay rad, dudes.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!